They're gonna tease Unicron. They're not gonna show us Unicron. What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu, and let's talk about last night. This is just the web series we're talking about Transformers last night. This is episode number 3. And the first thing I want to say is thank you. Thank you, Ragin Nation, for 100,000 subscribers. This happened, I think 2 days ago, and I was just out doing my thing, and I wasn't checking like Twitter or any form of social media, and then suddenly I checked it, and then I see all these messages congratulating me for 100,000 subscribers. Thank you so much, everybody at the Ragin Nation, for bringing me where I am now. I could not be where I am right now if it weren't for you guys and your support to this movement that I've been doing with the Ragin Nation. And what is this movement? Essentially, all I'm doing right here is promoting the Transformers live action movie franchise, because this is such a niche market channel. This YouTube channel is dedicated specifically to the Transformers live action movie universe created by Michael Bay, Paramount, and Hasbro. And I have other channels where I have another channel where I talk about Star Wars, Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC Extended Universe, and other movies. That's the Ragin Ronin Review. But I decided that I want to make this one channel, and the target demographic is fans of the Transformers live action movie franchise. And it's you guys that made this channel so big. Thank you so much for that. I honestly never thought that I would ever get to 100,000 subscribers, ever. Seriously speaking, I actually really thought that I'm always going to stay at 5 digits, and I never thought that it would grow that big. Mainly because, well, it's just one movie franchise that I'm talking about. Just one movie franchise. But somehow it got so big, and I believe that I started this channel back in 2012. Yes, 2012, so it's been just a little bit over 5 years now, and that's how long it has taken me to get to 100,000 subscribers. Thank you so much to you guys. I'm actually still, I haven't completely taken it all in. I'm having a hard time really swallowing the fact that I'm at 100,000 subscribers. That is 6 digits. It's kind of surreal to me, because having 6 digits as for subscribers really puts you on to a new level of being a YouTuber. So that's awesome. Thank you so much for that, and I can't thank you guys enough. You guys are awesome. Thank you for all the support. So in this episode, of course, the web series about last night is all about spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, because I know that in certain parts of the world the movie hasn't come out yet, you probably don't want to watch this video, mainly because it's spoiler filled. And to be specific, what we're going to talk about in this episode is Easter eggs. Easter eggs are things that, if you're a fan of Transformers and the Transformers movie franchise, then you will notice little tiny things that is thrown in here and there that is a reference or a tribute or an homage to the things that we know about from the Transformers cartoons, and also it's a reference to previous events from the Transformers live-action films in the previous 4 films. So we're going to talk about these Easter eggs. I'm going to list them in no particular order, and in no way is this a definitive list. This is just my list that I think are Easter eggs, but you're welcome to list in the comment section below what you think is an Easter egg that I didn't mention. So anyways, I'm going to list you 20 of them, and there's some really obvious ones, and there's some that are a little bit obscure, but we're going to start off with number 1, and that is the junkyard setting. Cade Yeager's base of operations, where he hides the Autobots and also has Jimmy as an employee, is in a junkyard. And where's this from? Robots in Disguise, the animated series that first came out in 2014. The main characters spend most of their time in a junkyard, and that's exactly where Transformers Last Night takes place for Cade Yeager's place of work, his business operation. So that's where that's from. Number 2, there's an evil version of Optimus Prime. And where have we seen an evil version of Optimus Prime originally? A Season 3 episode of G1 called Transformers Dark Awakening. Now, I wouldn't necessarily call that version of Optimus Prime an evil version of Optimus Prime. He's just not good. And this took place after the 1986 animated Transformers film where Optimus Prime dies and hands over the Matrix of Leadership to Hot Rod. Well, what happened to Optimus Prime? Well, he's like entombed, and he's just hanging out like with his like body all dead, and then suddenly he wakes up and then he's all bad. So that's where that's inspired from. Number 3, speaking of evil Optimus Prime is evil, and then he is called, or rather referred to by Quintessa as Nemesis Prime, which I thought was awesome because Nemesis Prime is an evil version of Optimus Prime in the previous animated iterations of Transformers, such as, for example, in the 2001 or 2000 Car Robot series from Japan, there was actually a character called Scourge, and what that was actually like an evil version of Optimus Prime, and it was a character I really, really loved in that movie. I mean, in that series, and in the American version, it's called Robots in Disguise, which came out in 2000, and then the Japanese Armada line also had another character named Scourge, which was essentially an evil version of Optimus Prime, and in America, they referred to him as Nemesis Prime. And then there were so many toy iterations of like an evil version of Optimus Prime with black and turquoise and purple. And they always called that Nemesis Prime, or at least the like Optimus Prime or Black Convoy or something like that. So Nemesis Prime was awesome. I love that she referred to him as Nemesis Prime. Number 4, the King Arthur storyline. And that is inspired by a G1 episode called A Decepticon in King Arthur's Court, where you have Warpath, and I think Trailbreaker was a part of that. But anyways, they went into some kind of like a time portal, which happened to be located in a version of Stonehenge, and then they got transported to like medieval times, specifically during the time of King Arthurian legend. So that's not coincidence that Transformers Last Night also has a lot to do with the King Arthur story and Excalibur. So, a screenwriter, one of the writers of Transformers Last Night, Ken Nolan, actually liked the idea of having Transformers existing during like all time periods on Earth. And one of those times was King Arthurian times, right? Medieval times. But this idea probably wasn't originally his idea, because all the writers did go through a Transformers boot camp where these folks at Hasbro taught them everything they needed to know about Transformers, and then that's when they were able to get inspired to write the stories for these films. And by these films, I mean Transformers Last Night, the Bumblebee solo film coming out next year, and also animated Cybertron prequel. Number 5, Unicron, and not just Unicron. The Transformers Prime version of Unicron, where Unicron actually comes up from Earth. In the animated series Transformers Prime, Unicron doesn't come from outer space, he's under the ground. Which is pretty awesome, because in Transformers Last Night, we actually slowly see the horns of Unicron coming out from underground. Now, I was really curious about, like, what are these horns, and why are they coming out in like this kind of shape? It's like a circular shape. There's 6 of them, and they're all coming out like that, like they make up a hexagon, and that actually looks like the Unicron that we know of from G1, except it's not coming from outer space like it did in G1. It's coming from the ground, like from Transformers Prime. And that's really cool. I really like that, because I always felt that in Transformers Last Night, they're going to tease Unicron. They're not going to show us Unicron. They're going to tease Unicron just like how they teased Thanos to us in Avengers. I said that they were going to either talk about Unicron in a couple lines of dialogue, or they're actually going to show us like a visual representation of Unicron. Guess what? They did both, and that was awesome. All right? Number 6, Quintessa. And what is Quintessa? Well, Quintessa is that one of the antagonists in the film, and that's this creator of the Transformers, what Optimus Prime refers to as his maker. And then she's the one that turns Optimus evil into Nemesis Prime, and she's the one that needs the staff of Merlin to defeat Unicron that's in Earth. All right, so that is something pretty cool, but it's referenced from Quintessa, which is the planet of the Quintessons. Now, the Quintessons are very, very different from the representation that we see in Transformers Last Night. The Quintessons were these like judges executed the Transformers, imprisoned them, but also they were the creators of the Transformers, and they're from the originally the planet Quintessa. So what they've done for Transformers Last Night is they've taken the concept of the Quintessas being the maker of the Transformers, and they also take the name of the planet that they're from, Quintessa, and then they made this version of this property, and they named her Quintessa, and they made her female, voiced by Gemma Chan. So that's where that's from. Number 7, the Talisman of Iacon. Remember in Transformers Last Night, you have Cade Yeager, suddenly this talisman wraps around his bicep, and then it forms and morphs itself into Excalibur, and it fends off this I guess a potentially striking and death blow to Optimus Prime. Well, that thing is actually the Talisman of Iacon. And when I was listening to that dialogue, I was just thinking, did Daytrader just mention Iacon? That's pretty cool. Like, you might miss it because it's just one word. It's just Iacon. Well, he says Talisman of Iacon. And then, if you're not paying attention, you will totally miss that. But Daytrader, being the character of that nature where he collects junk, he's the one who mentioned that, hey, that piece of junk right there, is that like the Talisman of Iacon? What are you doing with that, right? And then he sees the value in that talisman. But what is Iacon? Well, Iacon is the largest city, or rather the capital city of Cybertron. So that is totally a G1 reference, and I'm so glad they mentioned that because they're throwing a lot of things here and there that are originally from G1. So that is awesome. Number 8, speaking of Daytrader, the one who mentions Talisman of Iacon, Daytrader is what a lot of fans would refer to a Junkion. Well, they never actually mentioned that, and as a matter of fact, it's not like the writers ever referred to Wreck-Gar as being a Junkion. But what is a Junkion? Well, a Junkion are these I guess the Transformers, like these Cybertronians that live on the planet Junkion, and they are just surrounded by junk. And Daytrader is, I guess, in some ways, the live-action version of a Junkion. And what he does is that he collects junk. That's what he does. He collects junk, and then he does stuff with it, which I really don't know what, but, Daytrader is basically inspired by the Junkions. Speaking of Daytrader is actually voiced by Steve Buscemi, who has actually worked with Michael Bay on Armageddon and The Island. And I always thought that Steve Buscemi should totally voice a character like an Autobot in the Transformers Last Night, and he does it. And the fact that Steve Buscemi is voicing an Autobot, and not only an Autobot but a Junkion, that's an Easter egg within itself. So that is awesome. Number 9, Dragonstorm. And Dragonstorm is a 3-headed dragon that appears in Transformers Last Night. He appears in the medieval times, and he appears in the final battle. And, well, when's the last time we ever saw a 3-headed dragon in Transformers lore? Well, if we're talking dragons, there was Predaking from Transformers Prime. He wasn't a 3-headed dragon, but he was still a really huge dragon. And there was also the Dragon Megatron, but that was still a single-headed dragon. But then there's the Megatron from Robots in Disguise, where he was a 2-headed dragon. But that was only 2 heads. Let's think about something with 3 heads. Well, then there was also Bruticus from Robots in Disguise, which wasn't exactly a dragon. It was more like a Cerberus. It's like a 3-headed hellhound. But you can definitely see where the inspiration came from, because you got dragons, and then you got this creature with 3 heads. Put the 2 together, and you have a 3-headed dragon. And that 3-headed dragon is Dragonstorm. Number 10, Onslaught. And in Transformers Last Night, Onslaught is a heavy-duty Western Star tow truck. Now, where have we seen a tow truck just like that? Not only a tow truck, but a green tow truck. And not just a green tow truck, but a green tow truck with this lightning design there on the side. Well, that's Towline from the Transformers Car Robots series. Now, Towline didn't appear that often in the Transformers Robots in Disguise cartoon, but he did appear, and his alt mode is exactly what Onslaught is. But he was an Autobot. But you know Michael Bay. Michael Bay has actually turned a lot of his Decepticons into Autobots, and Autobots into Decepticons, just like how, well, Prowl's a police car in G1, he's an Autobot, but they made Barricade a police car a Decepticon police car in the live action movie universe. So like he's known for switching Autobot and Decepticon factions around, and he's done it again with Tow-Line renaming him into a Decepticon named Onslaught. And so there you have it. That's definitely a reference to that. Number 11, Bulldog. Bulldog is an Autobot who's a tank with robot dementia. And where have we seen an Autobot tank who's kind of wacky? That would be Warpath. Warpath, he's kind of like a crazy kind of character. He always goes kablam. You know what I'm saying? And I'm positive that Bulldog was definitely an inspiration from Warpath. And like it's really, really cool that they're bringing characters like that. I would have loved to see Warpath as a more dominant character in the Transformers live action films, because he is a tank, and I would like to see him transform in and out of tank modes, you know, blasting Decepticons with his cannon. But we only see him in a really, really short scene, like a really short scene, and to top things off, we don't even see him transform. Number 12, Starscream's head. This is obviously a callback to Transformers Dark of the Moon, where Sam Witwicky blows up Starscream's head off with these sticky bombs or stick bombs that Q made. So you see Starscream's head. Obviously, it was a reference to Dark of the Moon, and then you see Starscream's head in another scene where Megatron speaks to it. All right. Number 13, Scrapper. Scrapper is an Autobot Constructicon. Not a Constructicon, a Constructabot. Now, Scrapper appears in Transformers Last Night as one of these Autobots in hiding in Cade's junkyard. And when I saw that construction vehicle in the trailer right by Grimlock, I was thinking that can't be a Transformer. No way could that be a Transformer. It's way too obvious. But guess what? He's an actual Transformer. Not only is an actual Transformer, he's an Autobot in hiding in Cade's junkyard. And not only that, he made his appearance in Revenge of the Fallen as a Constructicon, which is a Decepticon, and also in Dark of the Moon, where he gets sliced by Optimus Prime. So, remember how I said Michael Bay turns Autobots into Decepticons, Decepticons into Autobots? Well, he did just that once again. He turned a Decepticon, a Constructicon, into an Autobot, and he left them in Cade's junkyard. Now, this is basically ILM recycling designs, and it's something they're known for, but it's totally an Easter egg. I looked at the design, and I'm thinking, that's totally Scrapper, okay? You just see him transform briefly, and then that's it. So there's no suggestion as to what happens to him. I'm assuming that the Decepticons waste him. All right? He's probably they probably talk to him and say, like, hey, what the hell? You're a Constructicon. You're supposed to be with Decepticons. Why are you with the Autobots? We're going to kick your butt. All right, anyways, number 14. Once again, in no particular order. We're just listing Easter eggs and now cameos. And that is Wreckers in Cuba. Now, this is very interesting. And that is, we get to see Topspin, but then he looks a little bit different. And once you see the thing once you notice the thing that's different about him, it's actually Topspin with Leadfoot's head. And it's a character actually voiced by Stephen Barr. So Topspin with Leadfoot's head is a brand new character. I wouldn't say completely brand new, but a different character, and his name is Volleybot. Or at least that's what they are calling him, and the reason why is because it's an Autobot that plays volleyball. So they decided to call him Volleybot, and he's voiced by Stephen Barr. He's a completely new character, but all he really is a new character with recycled parts. And those parts are Topspin's body with Leadfoot's head. And there's Volleybot for you. Okay, number 15, Decepticon Berserker. And why does Decepticon Berserker seem why is he an Easter egg, or rather, why is he a cameo? Because all he really is just a renamed version of Crankcase. Crankcase was one of the dreads with actual dreads, and he was an SUV. And then we do know that based on the toy, Berserker is also an SUV with dreads. So if you look at the scene with Berserker, and if you look at any close-up shots from Transformers Dark of the Moon of Crankcase, they're the exact same Decepticon. So basically, Berserker is a renamed Crankcase. Speaking of dreads, number 16 is Dreadbot. That's the 16th Easter egg that I'm pointing out. And Dreadbot is essentially a renamed Dread named Crowbar. There were 3 Dreads. A Crankcase, Crowbar, and Hatchet. Hatchet was the dog version where he's on all fours. There's one named Crowbar, and Crowbar was also an SUV, just like they're all SUVs, but Crowbar, or rather Dreadbot in Transformers Last Night, is essentially Crowbar, but he's a Volkswagen van, like an old Volkswagen van, and that's what he is. He just had a different alt mode. He's not a SUV, he's a Volkswagen van, but if you look at his face sculpt and the way he looks exactly like Crowbar. He's basically a renamed Crowbar with a different alt mode. Number 17. So there were several Autobots that are with Sir Edmund Burton. There's Cogman, who's a headmaster, which really doesn't mean anything. There's also Bulldog with robot dementia. There's Hot Rod, who's a French Lamborghini Centenario. And also, there's this smaller version of Jetfire. They got the Jetfire like model, but it's like tiny. It's like car sized. And I'm just thinking, when it transforms, it must be like one of these really, really small World War I biplanes or something like that. But there's a small version of Jetfire, and he just appears out of nowhere. He's walking towards British TRF, and then he falls down. And that's all you ever see of him. And once you watch it happen, you're like, hey, what the hell? Isn't that Jetfire? Like, why does he look so different? But it's not Jetfire. It's a small version of Jetfire, and they don't have a name for it, but he just falls down because I guess he's so rickety and so like old that he can't even balance himself, and then he falls down and collapses, which was such a random scene. Like, why did they even throw that in? It's just like one of these weird, like, what the heck moments. Number 18. Within Sir Edmund Burton's castle, he has this chamber where he has all these little relics and statues and portraits of people who are associated with the Transformers. And one of the things that he has in his museum is the pillars, or rather one of the pillars. It's just one single pillar. It's just standing there. Obviously, that's something from Transformers Dark of the Moon. It's something that you see briefly and then it's gone. If you blink, you'll miss it. But that is an Easter egg to Transformers Dark of the Moon. He was able to collect one of them, and now he has it as part of his collection. Number 19. Remember in the Sir Edmund Burton narration at the very beginning of Transformers Last Night? There's a collage of scenes with this very, very eerie score from Steve Jablonsky. It's like and then he says that Transformers are always arriving, like they're always crash landing into Earth, and we're wondering why did they keep on doing that. And then you also see there's a Hong Kong fight going on. You see a yellow robot versus 2 green robots in the streets of Hong Kong, and it looks like it's just some leftover robots from the Hong Kong battle back in Age of Extinction. And that's exactly what it is. If you pay close attention to that scene, it's Junkheap from Transformers Age of Extinction. What is Junkheap? Well, Junkheap is a 3-piece combiner from Transformers Age of Extinction. He's a creation of KSI, and what he is actually 3 KSI prototypes that merge and form into a dump truck. That's what he is. It's a waste management dump truck as their alt mode. And for some reason in Transformers Last Night, you see them fighting with each other. And I don't know why they're doing that, but it just lends to the fact that there are Transformers everywhere. They're still around. Some of them are in Cuba. Some of them are hiding in Cade's junkyard. And some of them are fighting in Hong Kong. Number 20. This is the last one. Sam Witwicky and the Witwickians. Now, this is something that is definitely a callback to the first trilogy of Transformers Last Night. Specifically the first film. Obviously, the Witwickians are actually the Witwickians refer to this family, or rather these people, I guess a group of people who actually preserve the knowledge of Transformers. They know Transformers exist, and then they keep that secret, all right? And one of those people is Sam Witwicky, and he he got thrusted into this Autobot Decepticon war without him knowing, but it feels like this is a pretty cool thing, because now it gives a reason as to why Bumblebee was tracking him down from at the very, very beginning, because he's one of the Witwickins, and his bloodline is a part of a larger picture where these people, the Witwickins, they actually preserve the knowledge of the Transformers, and they're the ones that actually keep them secret, which they continue doing, actually, or at least tried to do before Nest teamed up with the Autobots. But in any case, Sam Witwicky's photos there. It's his Ladies 217 eBay profile photo, and that was obviously a callback to the first film. So that's the last of all the Easter eggs, and that's all I gotta say in this episode. I know I told you guys that I'm gonna do questions for About Last Night. Thank you so much for tweeting me all your questions with the hashtag About Last Night. Episode 4 is all about you guys. It's all about the About Last Night questions. If you have any questions, tweet them to me on Twitter, of course. Follow me, and then use the hashtag About Last Night. I'm going to answer some of your questions randomly on episode 4 of About Last Night. So thank you so much. Hey, if you can name any more Easter eggs or anything that's an homage to either Transformers lore or the previous films, let me know in the comment section below. I would love to read about it. Thank you so much for watching. And also, what we're going to do finally, we're going to do our Transformers VIP giveaway right now. So in this envelope is a Transformers Last Night and IMAX First Look fan event exclusive poster. This was given away at the IMAX exclusive event, and I have one, but my buddy who also got one, he decided to donate this to the Ragin Nation VIP members, and we're gonna draw it right now. We are gonna draw the winner right now because it's been going on for too long and we need to find a winner. So let's do this right now. So I'm at a website called random.org, and there are 207 Ragin Nation VIP members, and what we're gonna do is I'm gonna generate a number between 1 and 207, and whichever number gets generated will be the winner. So here we go. I'm going to let's just take a look at this right now. Okay, there we go. 27. I'm gonna press generate. So get your VIP badges out right now. Let's click it. Boom. What do we got? 204! Holy cow, we got 204. This is really, really awesome because number 204 is actually a very recent addition to the Ragin Nation VIP members. 204 is Mark Vaughn. Mark Vaughn, congratulations. Thank you so much. You have this Transformers Last Night IMAX First Look poster, and congratulations. So, if you want to be a Ragin Nation VIP member and get an all-access pass, click on the links below. There are purchase links for you to get Ragin Nation VIP badges and also t-shirts, or if you get the Ragin Nation VIP badge with the t-shirt, there's a combo package where you can save money. But anyways, get your t-shirt orders in. I got them on the way. They're starting to get manufactured, and give it like 2 weeks, and then I'm going to start shipping them out. Thank you so much for your patience. I really appreciate it. Your support is awesome. And stay tuned for the next episode. We're going to be answering all your questions. Or at least I'm going to be answering as many questions as I can randomly. So make sure you tweet me with the hashtag About Last Night. Anyways, as always, if you enjoyed this episode and you want to see more, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter, Ragin Nation. My name is Alex Yu. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. The idyllic life of these two is interrupted by the evil Decepticons. And how are they going to be able to deal with the problem without Optimus and without everybody else?